Alright everyone, it looks like there may finally be hope for the healthcare bill. Now, I'm a proponent of get rid of Obamacare, don't really replace it, retain the 2 or 3 aspects of the ACA that actually make sense, and then just encourage more cross-state competition, and you've probably got something that works better at that point. But with Rand in control of what's going on instead of Mitch McConnell, instead of the Paul Ryans of the party, have to go through here and list, because he's making 4 demands here, and I'm going to read them off here for you. Create association health plans. This would allow groups of people to band together and create their own risk pools. They already do this to some degree. It simply expands that. So, I don't know. Will it work? Will it not work? I guess it's either or. Reduction of spending on insurance company bailouts. That makes sense. You can call it a subsidy if you want. What it really does is lead to insurers who are offering bullcrap plans simply continuing to offer them more. It actually increases their profit margin. Rand is saying here for insurance what I've said for some time regarding higher education. If the government throws money at a higher education institution, what ends up actually happening is it doesn't lower costs for the students. The college simply raises the price, takes all of that money, and builds another sports stadium. The health insurance market would be the same way. If you subsidize, if you just throw money at people with very, very little oversight, they will raise prices. They will never actually, there will be no trickle down from Obamacare to the poor on the health insurance question. It's voodoo economics. The Democrats say this all the time. Number 3, the elimination of premium tax credits. Essentially, people who are, in that working or middle class would no longer get a tax credit to actually purchase it. This could be an either-or scenario. I guess Rand's hope is that we can simply drop the cost and you won't need those actual tax credits. I'm not sure that I agree with that particular part of it. I'm also not particularly sure that's his intent. But whatever happens, happens, I suppose. And number 4, eliminating continuous coverage. Essentially, right now, under it, they've modified the mandate. The original mandate was if you don't have health insurance, you're going to pay a 2% additional income tax. It was a bad idea. The first thing almost that Trump did when he got into office. When he gets there, he says, oh, and we're not going to enforce the mandate. It's going to be way too unpopular. It doesn't make sense to make people pay for a service they're not using. It's retarded. Then Paul Ryan gets the idea, oh, we'll scrap the mandate, yeah, but if you get coverage and then it lapses, then you have to pay a big fine, which is arguably even worse because it's going to scare people out of even bothering to try to enter the market in the first place. It'd be like the death knell of the program. Under Rand's idea, that gets scrapped. That's probably the most significant change Rand is making. I didn't hear Mitch McConnell complaining about this idea before because he's a neocon, and Paul Ryan was a neocon. They just want people to pay more. They're not small government. They don't want lower taxes or lower regulatory burden and fees and stuff. It's Rand Paul that represents that partition of the Republican Party. So I wish him well in attempting to get this passed. The problem is people like Paul Ryan and Mitch McConnell. He might have Trump's blessing on such a bill. He might get Trump to back him, but is he going to get McConnell and Paul Ryan and some of these other turds to back him? Probably not. He's more likely to get a handful of Democrats to vote to pass this. Simply because it has Rand's name on it. He has a few allies across the bench because he's seen as sane, generally speaking, by most people in Congress. But there will be some, like, never-Trump Republican holdouts who are really, really bitter at the idea of anything in government working. For what reason, we're not exactly sure. They just want to strangle everybody and make everybody in the country miserable so that we can be miserable like they are. So I hope that Rand Paul manages to get this through. And having him very visible is exactly what I suggested a week ago would be the best idea. Rand is probably the most well-liked Republican in the Senate. Putting him in the bill very visibly, having his name associated with it, will draw more organic support for it. they can then put pressure on the other senators to support it, put pressure on the House to support it. Trump seems to appreciate Rand Paul more than he does many members of the GOP. That's a good thing. That's actually a good thing about Trump, is that he's willing to talk to Rand instead of fucking ignoring him like every other top-level Republican does. He's the only one who even gives him his ear occasionally, so I actually admire that. Because Rand, again, is the adult in the room. He's the most high-functioning person in the Senate on either side of the aisle. That may not be saying much, but at least he's sane. He's not completely out there and incoherent. He's not constantly saying, let's bomb somebody, it'll be great, or let's screw around, add new bureaus, let's increase taxes or something. Let's regulate the First Amendment because free speech is scary to us because the legacy media is dying or something. No, I respect Rand Paul. Not everything that he does I agree with, but I think more than anybody else in the GOP, certainly. So having him associated with this, probably, if it gets passed, would be a good thing. It'd be better, certainly better than Randcare or McConnellcare. It may still be half-assed, but that's still going to be a vast improvement on what the GOP's put forth. I think Trump realized at this point, I can't work with the neocons. Trump can't really work with them, because they refuse to actually negotiate. That's his entire strategy. Meanwhile, with somebody like Rand, he can actually have a sane adult conversation without someone shitting their pants like Mitch McConnell probably does every time he sees Trump coming down the hallway. That's about all. Peace out.